Select Committee. Congressman Adam Kinzinger, Republican of Illinois, joins me now. Congressman, we have a lot to get to, but first I do want to ask you about this breaking news overnight that gang members in Haiti kidnapped as many as 17 American missionaries who are originally from Ohio, including 3 children, as the missionaries were returning from an orphanage, according to a source in Haiti security forces. You're on the House Foreign Affairs Committee. What should the U.S. do to rescue these kidnapped Americans?
Yeah, first and foremost, pray for them. I think secondarily, we need to track down where they are and see if, negotiations without paying ransom are possible, or do whatever we need to on a military front or police front. But yeah, I mean, I think probably everybody watching, at least 1 or 2, I guess Kevin Bacon's away, knows somebody that has been a missionary to Haiti at some point. And so this hits home. So we keep them in our prayers, and the U.S. government will do everything we can to get them back.
Let's turn to the January 6th committee. I want to take a listen to what President Biden said on Friday.
What's your message to people who defied congressional subpoenas on the January 6th committee?
I hope that the committee goes after them and holds them accountable.
Should they be prosecuted by the Justice Department?
Yes.
Now, the Justice Department later clarified that they would make their decisions based only on the law and on the facts. Do you think it's appropriate for President Biden to say that? Does it make your job on the committee more difficult?
No, I think it's appropriate. I think the president has every right to signal. I think he has every right to make it clear where the administration stands. I mean, God knows the prior administration every 2 hours was trying to signal to the Justice Department, but that had to do with other pretty horrific things. And I think the president has made it clear that we need answers to this. And I think, the vast majority of Americans agree. So this potential criminal contempt referral, or will be criminal contempt referral for Steve Bannon, is the first shot over the bow. It's very real, but it says to anybody else coming in front of the committee, don't think that you're going to be able to just kind of walk away and we're going to forget about you. We're not.
Both you and the chairman of the committee, Benny Thompson, would not rule out a subpoena for former President Trump. But you and all the members of your committee have also pointed blame for insurrection squarely at him for inciting it. Do you really think you can do a thorough investigation on the insurrection without subpoenaing President Trump, former President Trump?
I don't know. I think if I had that answer now, I'd probably go in, and not be able to see all the pieces. What we really want to do is make sure we're getting every piece of this puzzle. And that's going to include people that have already come in and talked to us. It's going to include people that will potentially subpoena in the future whose name you probably have never heard of, who have very good incentives to come in and talk. And that begins to put the building blocks of this together. And I think, just speaking quite honestly, if we subpoena all of a sudden the former president, we know that's going to become kind of a circus. So that's not necessarily something we want to do up front. But if he has pieces of information we need, we certainly will. This is not, Jake, here's the thing. This isn't about necessarily even getting answers for tomorrow and hoping that, the people that believe the insurrection was really some Antifa, false flag thing are going to believe it. When I think about what we're doing on the committee, I think in terms of, yes, I hope we can change minds tomorrow, after we get the report, basically, sometime in the future. But this is about the 10-year argument. What are our kids going to think when they read the history books? Who's going to win that argument? And I've always believed, since I've been a kid in Sunday school, that truth needs to win out.
So I know you're worried about protecting democracy, and you've been very outspoken. You have opposed both bills from the Democratic Party that are intended to strengthen protection for voters, the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, a bill reinstating the Justice Department's power to block some states and localities from enacting what they view as discriminatory voting rules. Why did you not support those bills? And is there a bipartisan effort that you and other Republicans could get behind that could actually protect the rights of voters and get through the House and Senate for President Biden to sign?
I certainly hope there is. I think there is. I think there's been discussions in the Senate from last I've heard. Look, you can call a bill the Voting Rights Act, and then left-wing Twitter goes nuts about this, by the way, and they can say you voted against voting rights without even looking to the details of this. So the quick details, the Voting Rights Act in the mid-'60s came out with a temporary provision called preclearance, which required certain states to get clearance for any changes to any election system that they did. That went on into perpetuity. It was intended to be temporary. In 2013, the U.S. Supreme Court threw that provision out and said, history changes. We can't keep pretending like it's 1965. And so for the last 8 years, we have not had that provision in. The John Lewis Voting Rights Act would simply put to re-implement that provision to have, again, the Justice Department make any approval to any changes. By the way, that would have been the Trump Justice Department and anything like that. So, yes, we can get to a solution. The problem is, I admonish my side all the time about playing politics. The Democrats have to quit playing politics on some of this, too. You can call it the For the People's Act, which was the other one, and really what that is public funding for campaigns, among other whole host of things. If we actually went into this as adults with real discussions, I think we can solve stuff. But instead we just wait for these Twitter comments of, Adam voted against whatever, and then I can put a bill out there, the God and Puppies Act, and see people vote against that and say they're against God and puppies.
We only have a few seconds left, but I did want to get your reaction to the fact that there was a rally in support of Republican gubernatorial candidate Glenn Youngkin in Virginia, in which it was announced that there was an American flag that was carried at the rally with Trump on January 6th, and they pledged allegiance to the flag. What was your reaction to that when you saw that?
100% disgusted, and I wasn't surprised when I heard it, which is sad. It was disgusting. The gubernatorial, Mr. Youngkin did a good job denouncing it. It took him a while to do it. But let's just be clear to every leader and everybody involved in anything like that in the future. If you bring a January 6th insurrection flag, boo the person bringing it and say the pledge to a flag that didn't fly that day.
Yeah, Glenn Youngkin's called it weird and wrong afterwards. Adam Kinzinger, thank you so much. Good to see you.